Uh-huh. And yep, we are recording.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we have to
I'll lock
present from here.
present.
Yeah. Okay.
Present from here, whatever. And then afterwards, I'll just, when I finish, both of this.
Yeah, log me out or something.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sounds good.
I Arena will be around. I'm going to a meeting, so just
Sounds good. Thank you,
yeah,
Thomas.
of course.
He shares the panel. We're good. Okay. It is very laggy, but we deal with it. Damn, these are my one speaker. Okay. I'll try this time. Okay. Jill, you saying that now?
It's almost there, so I.
We gotta hire. No. Are you guys fine staying there or you want to sit? Yeah, that's so yeah, better. You good there? Should be well. You might need your computer for the event. Could do the code on your phone during your KPA songs, but are speaking more than that was good. Whoever didn't sign in, must sign in. I think we're good to start. Hello, everyone. This is a higher turnout than I expected, I'll be honest. It isn't saying much. But welcome to day 2 of Python libraries. Um, Today we're going to be focusing on mostly Python libraries, so let's get right into it. So last week I had like a little bit of a slide in order to go over the stuff. This week we're not doing that, we're going to jump right into it. So feel free to scan the QR code. There'll be a form. Just put your email in the form, submit it, and then within a few minutes, it should send you the Google Cloud notebook. If you get a notebook, just make a copy of it, and then we'll be able to add it from there. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. So let me know if anyone's having critical difficulty. I mean, you want to scan this, and you should have a notebook. I will. You can all do that. I'll leave that to learning comments. You get more snacks.
As long as they eat them outside.
Huh?
As long as they eat them outside.
Yes. Sorry. All right. Let me know if you have it. You know, the technical channel is about it. Right. Mm. You get a copy of it? You get a copy, okay, save copy and drive. That should work. Yep. Save copy and drive. So right now, the one that you click on in the link, it should be view only. But if you get a copy of it in your drive, then you'll be able to add that. I need copy drive on mobile. I'll do it later. Sorry. For those who are wondering what it might look like, right here. So this is what it's going to look like. Having a light mode. Let me just zoom in a bit. Sorry. Um, is this big enough? Is everyone able to see it, or maybe bigger? Big enough? Maybe I'll make it bigger. 200. Okay. Is everyone able to see? All right, great. Sanjila, scan the QR code. If you scan it, it should send an email to you. You put your email, um, and we're good. You got it? All right. All righty. I have one more minute for anyone who doesn't. Ivan, you can scan it? Yeah. You got it? Okay, wait. It's the next one. Okay. So this one is gonna be well, last week we went over the basics. Loops, variables, basic Python. For those who were here last week, if you weren't, once again, it's pretty similar to C++, Java, or other languages. If you don't, are you a CS student or no, right? Neuroscience? Okay. So, huh? Sorry, I gotta are you understanding like what I'm saying, like loops, and does that make sense to you? Have you taken the CS class before? I just want to make sure or not. Like, ah, mm, all right. If at every point you're lost, do not like stay quiet. Like, please let me know. Okay, I'll try to explain to the best of my ability. Um, anyways, but that's what we did last week. Went over the basics: Python, variables, loops, print statements, conditionals. Now we're gonna get to some of the more useful portions of Pythons, which is libraries. So thing of libraries is that when we code, right? There's a lot of things, like a lot of functions we want to do, but they're not built in to what we have, like the base thing. This is like the base package. Sometimes we need more packages to try and get more features to use, right? So in Python, we do that through libraries, right? So for example, let's look at the first few core functions. And once again, if you have this, you could scroll along them with math libraries, for example. So these first, the core functions, these are libraries that are like implemented in Python. So you don't need to separately install them. The later libraries we're going to go over, what's up?
Do you not have to declare the type?
What do you mean?
Like for initializing and creating a variable, like you just say radius equals 5, rather than
Well,
this.
like when in Python, you don't need to. It assumes.
Was it?
It's implicit, yeah. So if I say a name of the variable is equal to something, it'll assume, oh, if it's a number, assume it's an int. Right? We went over that last week, but that's what Python does because it's all its pointers.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't need to declare a name. Okay. But yeah, so these are the functions that are like install into Python. So for the first one, we have the math function, right? For example, if I want to use the value of pi, you gotta do math.pi, right? It's not like you can't just use 3. You can also use 3.14, but like if you want to like pi specifically, you would just put math.pi. Hello. Oh. So yeah, if you want to access math.pi value, you do math.pi. Without but in order to use like the math library, you have to like import it. Right. So if you want to import a library, you do import library name. Right. So we got you import math.pi. You want to use math? Oh, you didn't sign it? Right. So if I want to use a pi value, math.pi. If I want to use different functions, right? We went over functions last week, but basically it's like a separate block of code where that performs some task. You got a ceiling function, rounds up, floor function, rounds down, truncation function removes the decimal. So everyone okay with what I'm saying so far? Any questions? Any questions?
Like it gets rid of.
Decimal points.
Truncation just removes decimals. It's like 4 point whatever, whatever. It just gets rid of it. After the dot, gone. Mm. No. By integer division, I get what you're saying. Like 4 by like, if you divide two integer values, like you get an integer, but truncation just removes a decimal. So if I have like, I'm not using Sharpie, but basically, here, let's run it. If you can run it, right there.
So does this convert it to an integer, or does this convert a float to an int?
Not necessarily. Well, you can hover over it and see what happens.
Why would you want to remove specificity?
Returns a real to the nearest integral towards 0. Thank you. Huh?
Why would you want to remove that specificity?
What do you mean? Like num?
Have the you
Mm.
have the best case.
Yeah.
Why would you want to trim this? A precise division.
Well, depends on the case. There are many cases where you might need to remove decimal,
Yeah.
right? Like for example, if storing the decimal is like detrimental, then you wouldn't want it. So you truncate it. Okay. For whoever came in, if you want to access a Python notebook, feel free to scan this QR code. If you scan the QR code, just put in your email, submit. It'll send the notebook we're working on to your email, and you'll be able to make a copy. See the copy to your drive. Wait a second. Good.
No, I don't. Council meeting.
You saw scan it. It'll send the notebook to your email. wait a few seconds. But while I'm waiting, once again, feel free to jump around the notebook, play around with it. There's a lot of examples that I added. There's some examples that aren't. What I will say is like even though like say we go over certain things in this workshop, that doesn't mean you shouldn't. That shouldn't deter you from going over other stuff, right? There's so much Python libraries out there. If you go to the documentation, there's like a limitless amount of stuff you could do. Explore it, right? That's the basics of CS. Always exploring. Got it. Okay. Okay. We're good. If it may, if you can send to your email, save a copy to your drive, and you should be good. But yeah, when you run it, see, we got the math.py, radius squared, this is squared. Right, you just basic operations. We got the ceiling function. See that? Turns. So ceiling rounds up, floor rounds down, truncation just removes the decimal. Any questions? Once again, these aren't the only math functions, but they're useful ones, and there's a lot more out there, right?
Excellent. You did a double star, and then whatever you put at the end of that, it'll be the X one.
Yeah.
Oh.
What's up?
So I know that you can truncate, right?
Yeah.
Which is, it feels like it's effectively forced rounding down.
Yes.
Like, wouldn't we rather just use rounding functions, like round up, round out? Or does that create problems?
Well, like for the rounding function, you're talking about floor, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we see the floor function as an integral largest integer. So floor returns an integer. If we hover over truncation, it returns also an integer, it's towards 0. So you might be wondering what's the difference, but in these functions have their own purposes, right? So it could be in the case that we have a floor for always rounding down, but that, remember, always rounds down, right? But we might just want a case that just removes the decimal. That's why truncation. We don't really want to round necessarily. We just want to remove the decimal. Like the question you're asking is like, can we just like round down instead of removing decimal? Because it's performing the same thing, but maybe it's a case that we have. It depends on your data in the end. These functions have their own niches. Okay. Random functions. Want to do anything random? Did you get the okay? So the random library for those who took CS 111, random library for those who didn't take it, it basically, if you want to implement random, did you get the collab notebooks? Okay. Last note, whoever got the collab notebook for those who came in late, you might not be able to edit the link in the email. You might have to save a copy to your drive and you'll be able to edit that. Okay, just want to because the link is a view only, but if you make a copy of it, you'll be able to edit it. So once again, random, right? Now that we have the function, the library, we could just call whatever. Let me just also do this in random dot, and it should see all the functions that are within the random library, right? So if you're curious, let's go back to the math for a second, right? Random, I'm sorry, math dot. You see all these functions within the math, right? These are built in to the math library. So once we import the math library, we can use all of these instead of having to have values coded in at a time. If we import it, then we have access to all of them. Right? A lot of these are very useful, right? And they have their own uses. So we have random. So we got rolls, random int, right? So this is randomly rolling a dice. So you choose a random integer between 1 and 6, and you do it 10 times. And let's run it. There you go. 2, 5, 6, 5, 1, 3, 6, 6, 2, 2. Random, right? Run it again. Random again. Random again. Right? And you can also randomly sample from any specific sampling you have. So we have a deck of cards, right? And here we could sample from the list we have. We sample 5 of them. So if you have a random hand, what do we get? 9, 3, 7, Q2, Q, 6, Queen, 6, 3, 5, 8, right? And once again, random has a lot of functions to it. Bivariate, binomial, these are all different random functions. These are like different distributions. So if you took 241, you might know these distributions. Random in, trend bytes, sample, seed, and they have their own uses. Like for example, seed in cryptography, like if you want to do you want to encrypt certain messages, you use a seed to create a pseudo-random generator. What I'm saying might sound very like what am I saying? But basically this is how you send messages. Talk encryption. Okay. Well, like I said, very useful. Any questions so far? I might if I'm going too fast.
Yeah, underscore where the I is.
Okay, so in for loops, sometimes we just want to like loop through something, but we don't really use what we're using. For example, this is like a bit of a review for like so for I in range 10, right? Print I. Something like this. Here within the for loop, we're using I. But say I have it, whatever, like so print hello, right? See how I'm not using I within the for loop?
Yeah.
So I can technically like do underscore. It's like a dummy variable per se. And it should print it 10 times. Right? If I have an it also works. But I'm not using I within the function for within the loop. So I can just save it as a dummy variable. Yeah. Hmm.
And when we use the underscore starts at 0, right?
Yes.
Oh,
They all start from 0 in general. It depends on the range.
stops at 9, so runs 10.
Wait, that range is where it ends or where it starts?
You tell me.
Okay.
I is where it starts, 10 is where it ends.
No,
It starts at 0.
Starts default is
So
0.
like the loop 10 times. So if it starts from
Zero.
0, it's 0 to 9.
Mhm.
9.
See?
The range,
Range.
range 10 is 10 loop, but the
0.
number starts from 0.
Bingo. Right? They have an example here.
Minus 1. Makes sense. Wait, what's the purpose? Yeah, I don't feel like just said this.
Yeah.
It was like I don't know. I don't know if I like spaced out and you like just said this, but what is the pi? I don't see a pi thing or else like
Where? In here?
yeah, because like you're just printing that, but you're not using any randomization pi.
No, I'm just saying, for example, here we have the for underscore in range, right?
Yes.
We're just explaining that because why is it an underscore? Because if you have a loop, like for I in range, yada, 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 but you don't use I, then you can just replace it with an underscore. It's a dummy variable. Like, for example, so look, for blank in range 10, right?
Yes.
So it's basically for I in range 10,
Yes.
but we're not using this variable. Like, for example, here, if I had for I in range 10, print I, right? I would have to specify what's I. But if I'm not doing anything with I, like say I'm just printing hello, I'm not using I within the code. So I can just replace it with an underscore or the dummy there.
Okay. So it's basically your iterator variable because it doesn't have a use outside of it,
Mhm.
unless you specifically want.
Yep.
So that's like, purpose is like same variable, right?
Yeah.
You know, like repeating variables for no reason.
Yeah, and it's also just like for cleanliness, right? This because like say you accidentally use another variable name and you give an error, it's just avoidable. Okay. So we're good with that. Any questions? Any questions? All right, let's move on to more. Dates and times. Okay. So library, and I want to do this example because here it shows the idea of modules, right? So sometimes, what do you mean run disconnect? Sure, sorry. Sometimes libraries are huge, but we don't want everything. We want specific libraries, specific modules within the library, right? So for example, datetime is the big library, but we don't need everything in datetime. So we have like a specific datetime library. And is that Jeremy? Do you want a cupcake, Jeremy? Okay. And we want date, right? We don't need to do datetime because datateme's a way larger library. We don't need to import more than we need, right? So from datetime, import datetime and date. Why is it runtime disconnected? Is the Wi-Fi bugging? Sorry. So right here. Now, datetime now, it prints the current date. So we go to now dot, I think this is just to print dates. We have these functions, right? And we see it, current time, date and time, November 19th. What is it? Is that the correct time? 12:35. mess it up, but
Yeah, so that's it.
yeah. Yep, datetime.now, once again. Also, I will note, like some of the functions, like this is from like last week, but remember, if there's no parameters, you just add the parentheses with parameters with. And here, say we have date dot today, right? If we didn't import date from datetime, we would have to do datetime dot date dot today. And that's why I like wanted to point out why we import specific modules from within a library, right? To get like more specific functions, right? Is everyone okay with that? So here we have date dot today. If we didn't import the datetime module, I mean the date module from datetime library, we would have to do datetime dot date dot today. Any questions about that? That's the main reason why I had this to show like lot what's it called module to libraries. Okay. One again. If you want to see what other
That's best of making only taking like portions. It's wrong with taking the whole library.
Space efficiency.
Space.
yeah
Problem.
storage. Say we don't want we want a library, but we don't not going to use everything in it. So
With the point data.
right, what are all these ones? So you got date dot and see how date has its own little library. So if we only want a date, right? If we only wanted these functions, these are all within date. So we could do import date from datetime. We wouldn't need to import the entire datetime. Okay. Everyone okay with that? Any questions? Please stop me if I have questions. Any questions? Questions?
This that's the string.
That string that's to format time, like the to format the datetime, because it gives it a specific format. If you want to format it in a way like this, it's kind of like in C++. If you want to format a specific string like with variables inside of it, you just this is how you do it with like datetime. Yep. So it's year, month, day, hours, minute, second. Formats it. That's below. Any questions? We're good. You want another cupcake?
So the percentage, the percent icons are kind of like in SQL, right?
Hmm.
Where like you are substituting something.
Yes. Yes.
But what if you just wanted to print something percent? What do you do?
We just print it regularly, but because we're having this function, right? This function uses the percent time
It's a string format, and that's what. Okay, I
string format for time. Got it?
Thank you.
Mhm. And now we're gonna do last one. This is for system interaction. So once again, Python's useful for data. If you want to get saved CSV files, you would have to import operating system and system libraries. Once again, this is what's our list directory. We got config sample data. This might be a bit weird because it's on Google Colab. And it also shows the current version of Python we're on. Right? And once again, if you want to see all the libraries and operating system, right, all of them, threads, got this. So like if you're taking 340 to 343, you might recognize these like threads and events. But yeah, any questions? Those are only a few libraries that are built in. There are many more. And I encourage you once again, explore outside of this. There's a lot of this. If you go into Python, Python, what is it? Libraries, right? They have documentation. So feel free to always look at the documentation. It has all sorts of information, all sorts of things you could use. Okay. All right. Let's go to libraries to handle data. So these libraries, the libraries that are presented beforehand, they're built into Python. Okay. So if you want to use them, you have to do import our library names. Obviously, must have known. If you want to use these libraries, like NumPy, for example, you might have heard of NumPy. Why? you have to install them ahead of time. These are like bigger libraries that you have to install ahead. These earlier libraries, you could have just done import and you would have had access to them. But like these libraries in the Google Collab notebook, you don't need to do anything because like their Google Collab's pre-installed. But at a time, say I'm coding on like a my own terminal or VS Code, I will have to do pip install library name, and then you could use them like import. Okay.
These are much bigger than libraries, so.
So this is in a library, which one's this?
This is also a library. But like for these libraries, you have to install them ahead of time.
They're huge and.
Yeah. The first one you might have heard is NumPy. I say NumPy. Yes. So like for here, the library, we would import, usually install the entire library because it's like for these ones, I'm sorry, what am I doing? For these libraries, because like they don't really have sub libraries. Even if they do, you end up using the entire thing. For the earlier libraries, these are you don't install them ahead of time. Like Python has them like backup. Like you just if you need them, just call it. We don't like for example for datetime, we don't need to use all of datetime. It's still there, but we don't need to use all of it. So we import specific portions of it. Usually it's best practice, like say I'm using NumPy, even if I don't use everything, still install it. Just so that I have it there, because you have to install it anyways. Okay. So NumPy. This is one of the big ones for math calculation, processing, math, right? And it introduces two things, arrays. So if you think of an array, so we went over lists before, right? So you have the list, for example, let's go to an earlier example of a list. List. This is a list in Python, right? NumPy introduces something faster, which are arrays, right? So, huh? If you go to the random example, random, that's a list. But now NumPy we could have arrays, right? And this is you put the list in, right? And basically now within the because it's an array, you can do faster operations. Right. So now we can do different operations with the array, right? So we have the mean function, the variance. There should be a standard deviation. Let me just make sure. NP dot standard deviation. Right. Hopefully it's the standard deviation. But basically the idea is, sorry, really? NP dot st. What did I do? Sorry. Okay. Run it, and we have standard deviation. Okay. So NumPy gives us a lot of these built-in functions, right? And we couldn't have done this with a list. So we have to convert the list. Once we convert it to an array, np.array, we could then do all sorts of functions. Find the mean of the values, variance, standard deviation. So for example, you said neuroscience, right? Are you a CS major as well or no? What's your major? Okay. But say you have data and you want to find the mean or the variance or standard deviation, you would take the data, convert it to an array, and you would be able to then, it makes life easier first, right? Otherwise, we have to like do the regular calculation, go through each element in the array, yada, yada, yada. Makes it easier. Question.
So what is the difference between a list and an array as a data structure? I mean, like for an array, I know that you have different functions that you can perform on them because of the NumPy library. But like as a data structure,
As a data structure, they're pretty much the same. Basically, like this is a list, but NumPy takes the list, turns it into an array, and then is able to then carry out
array functions. Yeah.
if you can put a list, right, for example, let's see if that actually works. Let's do list is equal to right np dot mean. L. See if it gives them the correct one. 3, 4, 5. I can't type. I'm sorry. The hell is type? So annoying with the pop-ups. Print. Values with stream. Okay, so I think it's running. Oh, it does work. Oh, so it works with lists, but NumPy doesn't introduce arrays because with arrays, you have array. What am I doing with this one? You don't need it anymore. Arrays are just faster, right? And you could have also have matrices
With an array.
with arrays, right? Well, matrices are separate things. You could create matrices, right? So np.random.random int, right? So let's actually print this. I'm sorry, the pop-ups are very annoying. I'll run it. It should be good. And we have the array matrix. So you see it's a list of lists or an array of arrays. And then we can normalize it, right? Normalizing is linear algebra, right? Normalize it on the matrix. You get this, right? If you want to have element-wise math, right? So once again, this is easy with arrays because you could go each element in the array, do the math. So you could do np dot square root array. So find the square root of each element in the array, and it gives us the square roots, right? It just allows for faster math. And once again, oh, before I go on, you'll see this a lot in Python. We see how like NumPy is the name of the library, but sometimes you'll see it renaming it. So you see import NumPy as NP. This basically means we're importing the NumPy array, not array, library, but whenever we call it, we're gonna call it NP. Why do people do this? It's for naming conventions, it's for ease of life. It's not, you don't need to do it. You could clearly use NumPy. But you'll see like if you see that people doing this, because it is really frequent, importing it and then setting it as a different name, for whenever it's like a longer library name, for example, we'll go here, like for this is a later example. You don't want to keep writing matplotlib.pyplot dot yada yada yada. So you just import it as something else and it becomes easier to type afterwards. That's later on. But yeah, that's NumPy. It's fast math. Once again, these are only just a few. You have all these functions within NumPy, within the library. It's entirely a math-based library. So it's just for fast math.
There's concat and concatenate. I assume those would probably be the same thing, but is there not normal concatenation? Like string in quotations plus string in quotations?
Yes, that's usually done like the F function. We went over that last week, but it's like you have F. You know how in so let me show an example of that. So print. Make sure I remember how to do it. Do it. Did I do it correctly? Sorry. I am gonna go back to collab. Pull up the first notebook and show you.
I didn't go to the last one.
I'm sorry. So this is how you do concatenation. Right? Hello plus name. You got the F function. Hello name. Yada yada yada. Printing. How you doing concatenation in Python?
Okay, so concatenation works like how it works in literally every other language.
For anyone who wasn't here last week, if you want, I could send you the. Would you all like it as well? Okay, I'll like it. I will give me a sec. I got the QR code won't work.
Surely you just handle this after the event.
I'll send it after the event. Sounds good.
I'm away.
I'll send it after the event. I'll create another QR code. We'll send it after, but if you want it, I'll send it to you. Last week was basically the basics, but so that's NumPy. Now we got pandas. Is more for data analysis. Pandas is more like organizing the data. So think of it as like Excel, but for Python, right? So here we have an example where it's pandas. Once again, you have the same thing, import pandas as PD. And here we have a table we want to implement. Yeah. three names, three ages, they got three scores. We can use data frame from pandas to organize the data. And it should give us a little table. Right? Think of it once again, think of it as like mini Excel. Right? So name, age, score. Okay.
So how's it organized?
What do you mean?
Like the data frame. What are you doing specifically?
Oh, it's kind of like looking at the order of everything. So like if I were to, so it's assigning like Alice, it's assuming Alice is going to be 24 and has this score, right?
Oh,
So you know what I'm saying? Like it's based on the input, right? And based off of the given input, sorry, I'm on the wrong thing. Based off the given input, it will then like it's going to assume, right? So that's another thing about Python. It assumes a lot of things, right? That's why it's important what your input is, if it's the correct input, right? So if I were to like, I change Charlie with Bob, you'll see it changes Charlie and Bob. So it's like a lot of, it's assuming the zero indices for each array is correlated.
thank you.
Okay, no worries, no worries. Um, okay. So here's another example. Seaborn we'll go into a bit more later on, but it's also another useful library when it comes to importing data sets, right? So here we're going to import a tips data set, right? We're going to print the head of the data set, which is like the beginning of data of everything. And if you then can use once again operations within Seaborn within the tips thing, and you then have a nice little table, right? As you can see. So you have the indices, total bill, the tip, text the person, whether they smoke or not, the day of the week, time, the size, right? And here we have one filtered by only smokers, right? So once again, these are operations you could use. So once we have the tips file, right? We're getting all the people who get a tip, and we're gonna take their mean. We're gonna load this into this is the head. By head, it just means like the top portion of the dataset file. That's what head means. And here, I want to show you guys like this is how we filter, right? So we have the tips file. Within the tips, we're assuming we're only looking for those who smoke for some reason. Yes. If that equals no, should give those that's only the people who don't smoke. Right? Once again, it matches here. These are all the people who don't smoke. Let's say I want to set the day, a Sunday, or let's do Monday. The length of the head. I'm sorry, I didn't. Let's not do that then. Something else. Let's see. To change this next to mail. Mail. Yep, there you go. Filters everything out. So we only get.
Another door was open.
Okay.
That's not the way.
Where is the tablet? Please feel free to send the tablet over. And we see now it has filtered everything that's actually going to mail. We want to change it to female. Once again, filters. Okay.
Yeah.
You.
Yes.
After you sign in, let me know. We'll give you the QR code for the collateral book. All right. Time. Let's do lunch. Once again, lunch. So you filter it again. Time of lunch. Great. So these are different ways we could filter out the tips data set according to whatever we want. We can try. And tips, let's say set equals uh use an empty a bool hail.
So
Yeah.
what did you say after I signed it?
You has a QR code,
Oh,
and then it has the.
I did not.
It's okay.
My phone.
Just
Did you bring a computer?
Bring your phone.
You look on.
I'm gonna look.
Why is it saying an error? Do trace back, basic operations. Okay, value error. I think you can. I probably did it incorrectly, but you should be able to add more. Tips, only lunchtime. No. Oh, we have to use and. I'm sorry. Control Z.
by the way, what does Seaborn mean in this context?
Seaborn is another library.
Just what? Unlike.
It's another library.
Oh. Oh.
Why is it giving and?
When you wait on those just rates, do most of C plus plus. You can G has a whole G license.
It should work. Tips. What's up? Sounds good. I'm probably doing it wrong, but let's see. Use AMT, A bool, A item, and email. When in doubt, use ChatGPT. Yeah. You guys are seeing an expert CS coder at work now. What?
Either use it or fall behind.
Let's try this. Smoker is yes. Now, all right. What? Oh, did I say the wrong thing? Time is lunch. Only. Yep. There you go. So it's basically you have to use the and here. You could add multiple conditions. So I want to do and add a third. And tips of day is Thursday. When does this work? Saturday. Maybe there's no one smokes on Thursday.
So you have parameters around each.
Each conditional, yes. You put a parentheses and you have the and. This is how this pandas does it. Yeah. You should be able to stack more, but I'm probably doing it wrong. But yeah. Any other questions about pandas? Okay. Now we're gonna go on to graphs. Very nice. So everything we've done so far is about analyzing data. Now we're going to look about libraries to help visualize it. So the first one we have is matplotlib, matplot library. This one's kind of like the most basic of the libraries for graphs. So for an example, let's just run it. And you see we got these basic graphs, right? So you got the sine function, and I will point out, you'll see now how a lot of functions are used together. We import numpy because this is how we're going to get the x-axis, right? We got to import the sine function. Then we use PLT to plot a lot of the things. You see a lot of this is like you'll see a lot of this is like very tedious. You gotta do step by step by step by step. That's what Matplotlib is. It's not the most famous library for this reason. The bar chart as well. And to add corresponding labels and values, title, random plot, and we see these are the functions. Oops, it's not scrolling. There's scrolling now. See? Examples. So it's pretty basic graphs. And you have to like specify every single detail. Okay. Any questions about that?
See. Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Everyone good so far?
Is it Plotly?
No, Matplotlib. Scroll up.
Oh, that's it.
There's probably a way. Scatterplot, for example. I think there should be plt.color. No. Let's see what they are. Oh, close.
Maybe set color?
There is a way. X label, Y label, no. You got that. ELT dot color? No. There is. That's ChatGPT. There is a function, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Color equals red. So it's not a function, it's a parameter. There you go. Okay. Change color. Orange. There we go. So just an extra parameter. And this is where like I encourage like explore it, learn more, um, see what the features are about. Alrighty. And then after this, we're gonna now go into Seaborn more. So we already saw Seaborn's use before with the usage in analyzing data and getting data. Seaborn also good for plotting. Think of it as Matplotlib, but a bit more fancy. What do you mean by this? I use Seaborn. See, you could have multiple graphs on top of each other. You could have heat maps. Okay. And it basically, we could now import data sets, right? So we have Seaborn SNS. Here we're going to import an iris data set. I'm assuming iris is a flower. We're going to print the first 5 instances of the data set. And now we're going to create a histogram. So again, see, we have iris, use a simple length. Okay, bool, sure. Title of the function. Once again, see how like it's much less lines of code. You don't gotta like set each individual thing part by part. So we already have the histol plotting. If you have SNS dot, you have CKD plot. Did I do it? Where is it? Let's see what it is. Should be different type of graph. Let's do what are different plots in SNS? Bar plot, box plot. Let's do a box plot. Sure. Set poll line. This might give an error, but let's see what happens. I'm just showing different graphs. There, oh, okay, there we go. Count. Some of the different mouse and whiskers box plot. We can change it to SNS dot, let's see. A cluster map. Sure. Stop doing tab. You're back. Why are you back?
So.
I swear to God.
Of course. All die, bro. We went on one person since last one, so. That's our die.
You pops are very annoying.
16% increase.
Let's run it. Ooh, this will be good. No, so it has to be a matrix. But anyways, different graphs. Got a histogram. Here we can do a heat map, right? So we got a correlation between different steeple lengths and their widths, right? I have a heat map with a correlation. These are just annotations. I can change the color as well. You can print it to the title. There we go. A lot of these are just built into it. So a lot of this is, once again, you explore it on your own, figure out what these things are. I'm just here to like push you, try to explore it. What's up?
Get how PLT knows which titles for which there's no like identifier for which.
In Python, it goes by order. So right here, it's assuming PLT title dot show. This title is going with this graph. That's a lot of like with Python. Like it assumes a lot of things, right? So then it shows again. We set a different title with a different map, so it'll assume okay, this title is going to go with this graph.
You add another like graph in between, it'll just ignore the one.
You could try it. Let's try it. Let's add another graph here. And let's change the title. Go ahead. Go with. That's it. Got it? Does that answer your question? Right? It goes by order. Yeah, that's the weird thing about Python. That's why I personally am not really a big fan of Python because I like having each thing out and like knowing which part is which. I don't want to like assume anything, but a lot of people like Python because you don't have to worry about assumptions. You don't have to like specifically write out where each part is with which. Okay, so that's Seaborn. Don't worry, guys. One more example, then you'll be able to do the work. Plotly is also used to create graphs and visuals, but here these are more interactive. So let me actually run it. You'll be able to see. Hopefully, it runs. You know what? Once again, see now these are more interactive graphs. Hover over it. If you have a 3D graph, you could zoom in, zoom out. Zoom in, you go over the points. You could rotate it, right? You can zoom in, zoom out. You can hover over each point and it shows the coordinates, right? That's the beauty of Plotly. It's more interactive graphs. Right? Once again I'll point it out. We use a lot of the things from before, right? So we import NumPy, we use pandas, and we use those functions in order to be able to show. Right? So we got the NumPy line space, we got the sign function. We use pandas to get a data frame. Right? We use a data frame. This is basically just creating a table of sorts. Right? So we got the x value is going to be all the x values. The y value is going to be all the y values. And then we use Plotly, express, and show the line. Interact the sine wave, show it. Again, feel free to interact with it on your own. And then you can hover over each point, see the exact coordinate. Right? And do the same thing with let's say we have it with a cosine function. Uh, cosine of x, interactive cosine wave. Did it? Oh, did it show it correctly? Sorry, I'm just. Yep. Okay. Interact cosine wave. Got it. And this goes back to a bit of your question on why, like, see how we use x and y again. So, like, it goes by what's most recently used. I personally find that very annoying. Person who created Python now it wasn't. It was pretty useful, but it's taste. There's a reason why Python's used a lot today. So, just maybe this nine, but okay. And oh, here, how to do your scatter. So once again, we use a data frame of NumPy, not NumPy, pandas in order to create the table. Once you create the table, we could then create a scatter plot using the XYZ from the table. Right, so this is the table we have the x coordinates, the y coordinates, the z coordinates, and the title. And we just show it, and bingo. Here it is. You have interactive. You can rotate it, move around, hover over points, zoom in, zoom out. It's beautiful. Any questions so far? Any questions at all? No questions? Because that's pretty much it. I have if you scroll down, you'll see now it's like an interactive. You have a practice, so you can like fill in the blanks. This one's a bit more chill. Where this one like feel free. You could go earlier in the code, change anything in earlier code blocks. So yeah, that's pretty much it. These I'll keep in mind. These aren't the only libraries. These are just this is the tip of the iceberg. I'd encourage you all, please, like, even if it is using ChatGPT, like use it to explore, use AI, explore these libraries. They're very useful. There's a reason why Python is very much important nowadays. Not only in CS, we see neuroscience and economics. So there's a reason why it's very popular and very useful. So it's always important to learn. Okay. So now we have the parts. These are practice. Feel free to work on them. Feel free to grab more snacks too. I severely overestimated how many cups I would need. I don't know, man. They were. I walked by. I was like, Sour Patch Cupcakes. I'm like, yeah, I gotta snag it. But yeah, Sour Patch Cupcakes.
Okay, it's tasty.
Can you come?
I want to see what.
Take one, take two. I don't know.
Would you go round two?
Round two, whatever. But feel free to work on it.
Breathe.
Sorry. Take it.
Oh, wait a minute. One of the ones back there.
Sour patch.
That's too much sugar, dude. That's all.
Have the second back.
It's a
Right strawberry.
Not sour. Good. What happened? Good. What is good? That's
No, like I genuinely
it's
can. Word.
well, Lord, that was good.
I mean, thank you for giving me the experience, though.
What was that? Bro, downed it all in one go and went immediately, bro.
No, you should only
Oreo, strawberry.
You know what? You should only be downing it in one go.
I feel I should have gotten the vanilla then instead of Sour Patch.
No, actually, it was kind of funny though, like that it was Sour Patch Puppy. I was like, oh,
If they didn't put the sour on top, it would taste
Go
good.
offer everyone else stuff.
Then it wouldn't be sour patch.
No, you know what we should say? We should say cotton candy flavor. And then they eat it and go,
Would any of you two like cupcakes as well, or candy or anything? You sure?
Yeah.
You don't need to. You don't need to Sour Patch ones. I'll sort it out. Yeah.
no,
don't do all that.
Don't do all that.
Give it to Procter and Gamble like that. Give it to Vincent Papers. Vincent Papers are dumb. They won't be able to tell the
Let's see how bad. Let's see how bad.
You haven't tried it yet?
We haven't tried it. A little bit.
That's actually exactly what it is.
Right?
No, I'm gonna
Do
do
a
it.
Sour Patch Frosting.
Sour Patch.
It's not that bad. Put that
It's
down.
like
there.
only
Would you like one?
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, eat this. That's a fun.
No, that's nothing.
You eat one.
What? No, no, seven. You need one. Wait, I got it. Like, yeah. What's the guy?
Let's try, bro. Let's try, bro.
Damn, one second.
Oh, let's try, bro.
You want to, I don't know where to find it. You want to. Yeah, bro.
One. Let me open by that for you.
Like, while it's free, and it's like right there.
Listen, I recommend blowing your hat. I mean,
Science reset.
Yeah, I'm totally confused.
what is? She didn't say what this is. I don't like the fact it may not be like me, but it moves really fast. What is it?
I will.
I gotta go to the video.
But look, the captain feels great. I'm moving speed 6. By the time you literally, you're cooked, bro. I am.
Lift my.
Oh,
I lift my staff. I lift staff. I'm trying to with hands.
By the time you go,
I don't know.
they move.
Try.
How good I like.
Shit, you're right.
No, but like, no,
By the time you go,
was like
where you
5
go?
like 5 feet from him though. No. I'm lying. Like. No, me personally, don't yell the they just lay your 8 top range. Don't yell the
You saw me?
8.44 top range, bro. The record thing
Probably. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think this.
So our thoughts, pretty short workout.
That's it.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, I mean.
I mentioned the point next time.
I'm doing one in like 2 weeks. That one's gonna be more of a project.
Wait, what day? What day is it?
What do you think is like a good project for like beginner starting out, like what would that be for?
Something data. So what let's see what I'm gonna do next week. There's like open MSC open data. I'm gonna import data from there and we're gonna basically create graphs of source. You can try and do some data analysis first, where you like take the data, perform analysis of it, like see like projections and stuff. That's also really fine with Python. One of my friends did that with like stock market prices. Also, on project if you want to do it.
What do you think Kramer would like out of it?
Take the stock market it's pretty good. No, we get this. Come on here. Part of town. He's not gonna lie, it's kind of
Good, right? I would.
next one. Probably December 3rd. So I'll try to be sure to let 6 other CSN.
Oh, yeah, aftertaste is the.
Yeah, it's not like
After
very good.
like a sour patch. Or with a little.
yeah, you did well. You get something out of it.
Yeah, I did.
If you're not like a bro.
Listen. He got these sacks for a reason.
That's pretty good, right? It's really good, right?
I'm not gonna front. Everyone's like made it seem like it was the worst thing. Some person was like, oh, shoot. He called out practice. Look, it was so much storm. Look, yo. No, can be very. All right, this great. How do you go? I think I know why. No, I think Nike the reason why like that's literally like a 6. You know, they do like that's on you. They do have. They do. And there's a wiggle. You're talking about the wiggle.
Yeah, the physical.
No, like a wiggle, like a full wiggle. Like a full wiggle.
Like found there. Very different. Some cars, some doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like too much.
What do you think about the thumb curve, bro?
Good. They also have the number where like your tongue can like roll on it.
Oh yeah.
They do a bunch. They do a bunch of. So that one of the
Some check.
what's your peach acidity? And like they're like a really sour cookie. He's ancient, you're normal. They're from peach had in the city. I ate a bit of paper. I literally chewed on this.
Oh, no wonder you didn't find
I
out.
love that. I probably got that. I said it did not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put therapy.
I have low activity. That's why I like sour stuff. Like it
Yeah.
Oh, that one?
I'm not gonna lie.
I like the sour sensation as well.
High tea is almost.
Item.
This is
Sorry, does your boss read these?
oh my boss reads these.
Oh,
So
good.
Extreme.
I think we're good. I'm gonna stop.
He said thank you, Salam, happy for this in the last one.
Stop recording.